Hi, friends. I'm Carrie Jo, and this is Holy Chuckles Podcast. This is a space for honest faith, lived experiences, and shining a light in the places we've learned to hide. I'm not here to explain faith. I'm here to live it out loud. So take a breath and let's make room for what's real. Welcome back to Holy Chuckles Podcast. I'm really glad you're here. Where we left off is the Israelites were defeated by the Philistines. They went back to camp, sent men to go get the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. And when the Ark came back, the Israelites cheered so loudly that it shook the ground, and the Philistines could hear the cheering. The Philistines, they basically said, "What's all that noise? Why are all the Hebrews shouting?" And then they learned the ark of the Lord had come into the camp. And the Philistines were afraid. They said, "A god has come into the camp," and said, "Oh no, nothing like this has happened before." These are the gods who struck the Egyptians down with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. And then the leaders of the Philistines said, "Be strong, Philistines, be men, or you will be subject to Hebrews as they have been to you." The Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated again. The Philistines took out 30,000 of the Israelites' foot soldiers. 30,000. When I read how excited the Israelites were because a box came into their camp, even though they had God with them the whole time, but they relied on this box coming into a camp. They relied on their circumstances changing, not their hearts. They didn't rally. They didn't get together. They didn't pump each other up. They didn't say, "We can do this. We can defeat these Philistines." No, they ran to get a box with trinkets in it. So their circumstances changed. Nothing about them changed. But in the other camp, when they heard the ark of the Lord showed up, they got scared. They became fearful because this ark came in to the Hebrew camp. And then their leaders gave them the pep talk. Come on, we have all seen the movies. Maybe you've even been an athlete and been part of it, but you know your team is down. You never think you're going to come back. And you get that one pep talk. Maybe it's a pep talk from a teammate, a coach, your parent, a friend, whatever. And then all of a sudden your heart changes and you all come together and you can do anything as a team. That's what happened here. The Philistines' leaders said, "Be men and fight, or you will become subject to the Hebrews, just as they were to you." But what if it wasn't subject to the Hebrews? What if it was subject to fear? Because I thought about this in my own life. How much fear has played a part in my life? For the Philistines, it wasn't about the Hebrews. It was about that the circumstance changed for the Hebrews, and they thought a god had entered the camp. They didn't understand it was just a box that entered the camp. And they got scared. And on the other side of that fear was the Hebrews. But they weren't scared of the Hebrews. They were scared and fearful of failing. They were fearful of losing the battle. I thought to myself, how many times has fear kept me from doing something? In fact, how many times has fear won the battle that I didn't even know I was in because it was with myself? I have many examples, recent ones, with my job. I'm only 3 months into my job, and I get fearful every time I have to start a new project. Because what if I don't know what they're talking about? What if I have to ask questions? What if they think less of me because I don't do it right? There it is. There it is. What if they think less of me if I don't do it right? What if I ask a stupid question because I have a plethora of them? What if I don't live up to who they thought I was in the interview? Those are all the thoughts that go through my head instead of, hey, you're only 90 days into your job and they're already giving you projects. Your manager has already told you, oh, I didn't start doing that for a while after I started. You're already doing a lot more than what we thought you could do. He's already telling me. But I guess when I'm listening to that, all I'm hearing is the Charlie Brown teacher going, wah, 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 wah. He's telling me, and I'm still doubting. I'm still fearful of the what ifs. Even with this podcast, when I started it, oh my God, I was so fearful. I would stay up at night dreading that I had a recording the next day. Everything had to be perfect. When I was doing video, oh, I dreaded it so much. Not because of the video, but because I wasn't comfortable just being me. When I made the decision just to do audio, some of that anxiety came down, but I still was fearful. What if I say something wrong? What if I don't interpret these verses the way that they need to be interpreted? What if I'm not really hearing God correctly? What if I'm not following my alignment? What if I offend someone? And believe me, I have never cared that I offend people. I have offended people my whole life just by breathing. But what if I offended someone? Because I've changed. And I want people to see me, my authentic me, not who I was when I was performing or when I was hiding. What if I don't come across the way that I need to or want to? Then what? And I was so fearful of every single thing. I don't even understand how I'm recording episode 70 today. If that's not God, I don't know what is. Because every time I go into a recording, I am fearful. Every time I go into a recording, I am unsure. Every time I go into a recording, I second guess myself. But I do it. I do it because God asked me to. Because God told me this is what I'm supposed to be doing. God didn't give me the whys. God didn't give me what fors. God just said, do it. God just said, record. God gave me 1 Samuel. And every step of the way, I have been fearful. Am I doing it right? And you know what God said? It doesn't matter. There is no right. It's just you. There is no right way to do this. It's just you. It's you pouring out your heart. pouring out what you're learning, pouring out what you're going through. It's you living your journey out loud. It's you giving your testimony of how your life has changed since you started aligning. So there is no right or wrong. It's just you. And for a person who never thought just me was enough, every day, every single day, God is showing me that I am enough, just as I am in that moment. And every moment for me changes. And in every moment, God shows me that I am enough. God shows me that I am love. And I don't have to ask for love. I don't have to be loved, because I am love. And love is worthy of everything. Love is just worthy. Every time I start to feel fearful of the what ifs, I have to remind myself my circumstances have not changed, but my heart has. And I don't have to be fearful of anything. I just have to do it. I now understand the Nike commercial. Just do it. It resonates with me now. It makes sense to me now. I may be fearful. I may not know what's on the other end of it, but I just have to do it. And that's all God is asking me to do, is just do it. And just like the Philistines, their circumstances didn't change. Their hearts did. Their leader said, "Be men and fight. Just do it." And the Philistines fought, and they defeated the Israelites. And the Israelites were so excited because the ark came to their camp, and they thought that's all they needed was excitement, was the ark. Now God was with them. So now we're going to show the Philistines. But they did nothing to change themselves. They relied on an item instead of knowing, understanding, believing, and having faith that God was with them through everything. God was with them. Understanding about the Philistines being fearful and the Israelites being excited brought me back to something I heard a while back. Fear and excitement are nearly identical states. They are only separated by the story you tell your brain. If you think about it, both fear and excitement make your heart race. They give you butterflies. Both can make it very hard to sit still. Believe me, I know. Both can keep you up at night. I just said I had many sleepless nights. Both can make your mind race. That's why I had many sleepless nights. And I had to think back. Was I fearful about this podcast? Or was I excited? Was I excited to be doing something creative that was authentically me? Because fear says something bad may happen, but excitement excitement says something wonderful may happen. Either one can be true, but the choice is up to you.